Let me start by asking you something profound. What if the life you're living isn't the only version of reality available to you? What if, right now, there are infinite versions of you existing simultaneously, each living a completely different experience, and all it takes to step into the one where your dreams have already materialized is a quantum leap? If you've ever felt like there's more to life than what you can see, touch, or measure, you're not imagining it. The fifth dimension, a level of consciousness where time, space, and limitations dissolve, is not just a mystical idea. It's a state of being, a frequency shift, and a destination that's closer than you think. But before you can make the leap, you need to know the signs. Because here's the truth, not everyone is ready. You have to be aligned in a very specific way to make the jump, and when you are, reality as you know it will never be the same. The first sign that you're ready for quantum leaping is that you feel an unshakable dissatisfaction with your current reality, not in a negative way, but as if your soul is whispering, "There's more." Let me ask you, have you ever looked around at your life and felt like you're playing small? Like the life you're living isn't the fullest expression of who you are? This feeling isn't a sign of failure or ungratefulness, it's an awakening. It's your higher self nudging you, urging you to expand beyond the limits you've placed on yourself. This dissatisfaction isn't something to suppress or ignore. It's a sacred signal that you're outgrowing your current reality. I think of it like a butterfly feeling cramped in its cocoon. The discomfort isn't the problem, it's the catalyst for transformation. But here's where most people get stuck. Instead of listening to this dissatisfaction and using it as fuel for their growth, they let their fear of the unknown keep them trapped. Let me ask you, are you clinging to your comfort zone, even though it no longer feels comfortable? Quantum leaping requires courage. It requires you to release the familiar and trust that what's waiting for you on the other side is far greater than anything you're leaving behind. Dissatisfaction is the first sign you're ready, but only if you're willing to act on it.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
The second sign is that you've started noticing synchronicities, those seemingly random events that feel too meaningful to be coincidences. Maybe you keep seeing repeating numbers, like 111 or 333, or perhaps certain people, opportunities, or messages keep showing up in your life at exactly the right moment. Let me ask you, have you noticed the universe communicating with you? These synchronicities are not random. They're breadcrumbs, clues from the quantum field, guiding you toward your highest timeline. When you're ready for a quantum leap, these signs become impossible to ignore. They're like a cosmic nudge, reminding you that you're connected to something much bigger than yourself. But here's the thing, most people dismiss synchronicities as mere coincidences. They brush them off, saying, "That's weird," and move on with their day. Don't do that. When the universe speaks, listen. Every synchronicity is an invitation to pay attention, to tune into your intuition, and to align your energy with the guidance you're receiving. Let me ask you, are you open to the idea that the universe is conspiring in your favor? Because that's exactly what's happening. Synchronicities are a sign that the quantum field is responding to your energy, and the more you acknowledge them, the more they'll appear. They're proof that you're vibrating at a frequency that's compatible with the fifth dimension. The third sign is that you've started feeling an intense pull toward authenticity. Maybe you've recently realized that you've been living according to other people's expectations, following a script that doesn't feel like your own. Let me ask you, are you tired of pretending to be someone you're not, just to fit in or make others comfortable? If so, congratulations. This is a clear sign that you're ready to leap. The fifth dimension is a realm of truth, and you can't access it while wearing a mask. To jump into your highest reality, you have to strip away the layers of conditioning societal programming, and false identities that have been weighing you down. But this isn't always easy. Stepping into your authenticity often means letting go of things, and sometimes people, that no longer align with who you truly are. It means standing in your truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Let me ask you, are you willing to release what no longer serves you, even if it feels scary? This is the test of authenticity. It's not about being perfect, it's about being real. When you're ready for a quantum leap, you'll feel an almost irresistible urge to shed anything that isn't in alignment with your soul's purpose. This process might feel like chaos at first, but it's actually clearing the path for your leap. The fourth sign is that you've started experiencing time differently. Maybe you've noticed that time seems to be speeding up or slowing down in strange ways. Or perhaps you've had moments where you're so deeply present that time seems to disappear altogether. Let me ask you, have you ever felt like you're stepping outside of time, even for a moment? These experiences are not random. They're glimpses of the fifth dimension, where time is no longer linear. In the 3D world, we're bound by clocks and calendars. But in the quantum field, everything exists in the eternal now. When you're ready for a quantum leap, you'll start to feel this shift. It's like your consciousness is expanding beyond the limits of time, giving you a taste of what's possible. But adjusting to this new relationship with time can be disorienting. You might feel like you're losing control or that things are happening faster than you can keep up with. Let me ask you, are you willing to surrender to the flow of time, even if it doesn't make sense to your logical mind? This is where trust comes in. Quantum leaping requires you to let go of the need to control every detail and instead trust that the universe is orchestrating everything perfectly. When you align with the flow of time, you tap into the infinite possibilities of the quantum field. The fifth sign, and perhaps the most profound, is that you've started to feel an overwhelming sense of oneness. Maybe you've had moments where you feel deeply connected to everything around you, as if the boundaries between you and the world have dissolved. Let me ask you, have you felt the presence of something greater, a sense that you're not just an individual, but part of a vast, interconnected whole? This is the ultimate sign that you're ready for the fifth dimension. Oneness is the essence of the quantum field. It's the understanding that we're all connected, not just to each other, but to every possibility, every dimension, and every version of ourselves. When you feel oneness, you begin to understand that separation is an illusion. You realize that the version of you who has already made the leap isn't out there, it's within you. The fifth dimension isn't somewhere you go, it's a frequency you embody. And when you feel oneness, you're already halfway there. These 5 signs, dissatisfaction, synchronicities, authenticity, time shifts, and oneness, are not just random experiences. They're the universe preparing you for something extraordinary. If you're experiencing even one of these signs, take it as a signal that you're ready to step into a new reality. And if you're experiencing all 5, the quantum leap is not just possible, it's inevitable. Now that you've recognized the 5 signs signaling your readiness for a quantum leap, the next step is understanding how to actually make the leap. The fifth dimension isn't a physical place, it's a state of consciousness, a frequency of existence where limitations dissolve and infinite possibilities become tangible. But how do we access it? How do we shift from the linear, often rigid nature of the third dimension into the expansive, limitless nature of the fifth? These questions are at the heart of quantum leaping, and the answers lie in mastering the mechanics of how energy, intention, and consciousness interact with the quantum field. Today, we're going to break this down step by step so you can unlock the fifth dimension and experience the direct jump. Let me start with a question. Have you ever truly considered how powerful your consciousness is? Most people live their entire lives believing they are at the mercy of external circumstances, trapped by their past, defined by their environment, or limited by their resources. But here's the truth: you are not a passive participant in the universe. You are a creator, and your consciousness is the tool through which you mold reality. The fifth dimension is simply a space where this truth becomes undeniable, where your thoughts, emotions, and intentions manifest so quickly and vividly that you realize the external world is nothing more than a reflection of your internal state. The first key to unlocking the fifth dimension is awareness of the quantum field. Imagine for a moment that all of existence is a vast ocean of energy vibrating at different frequencies. This ocean contains everything, every possibility, every version of you, every potential timeline. The quantum field is where all realities exist simultaneously, waiting to be chosen and experienced. Let me ask you, do you believe that the reality you desire already exists? Because it does. The moment you conceive of a possibility, it's created in the quantum field. Your job isn't to create it, it's to align with it. But here's where most people get stuck. They try to force their desires into existence by taking action alone, without first aligning their energy. This is like trying to tune into a radio station by banging on the radio instead of adjusting the dial. The fifth dimension doesn't respond to effort, it responds to frequency. To make a quantum leap, you have to vibrate at the same frequency as the reality you want to experience. This brings us to the second key, embodiment. Let me ask you, who would you be if your desired reality were already here? Most of us think in terms of when. When I have this, I'll feel happy. When I achieve that, I'll feel confident. But the fifth dimension operates on the opposite principle. You don't wait for the reality to arrive in order to feel the corresponding emotion. You feel the emotion first, and the reality follows. This is embodiment. It's about stepping into the version of yourself who already has what you desire, not just imagining it, but living it energetically. Here's a practice to help with embodiment. Every day, take a moment to close your eyes and visualize your desired reality. See it in vivid detail, not as something in the future, but as something that's already here. Then, ask yourself, what does this version of me feel like? How do they think, act, and carry themselves? Now, start embodying those qualities in your present moment. If the version of you in the fifth dimension feels abundant, practice gratitude and generosity now. If they feel confident, start walking, speaking, and making decisions with that same confidence today. Remember, the quantum field doesn't recognize time. It only responds to energy. When you embody the frequency of your desired reality, you collapse the gap between where you are and where you want to be. The third key to quantum leaping is detachment. This might sound counterintuitive. After all, if you deeply desire something, how can you detach from it? But detachment doesn't mean giving up on your desires. It means releasing the need to control how and when they manifest. Let me ask you, are you willing to trust the process even if it unfolds differently than you imagined? The fifth dimension requires a deep level of surrender. When you cling to your desires with fear or desperation, you create resistance in your energy field. But when you let go, trusting that the universe will deliver in the perfect way and time, you allow the quantum field to work its magic. I think of it like planting a seed. Once you plant it, you don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You water it, nurture it, and trust that it will bloom. The same principle applies to quantum leaping. Set your intention, embody the energy of your desired reality, and then release it. Trust that it's already done. This trust is not passive, it's an active state of alignment, and knowing that the universe is always working in your favor. The fourth key is expansion. Quantum leaping isn't just about manifesting one specific desire, it's about stepping into a reality where limitless possibilities are available to you. Let me ask you, Are you willing to let go of your limited vision of what your life can be? Many people unknowingly block themselves by attaching to a specific outcome, believing it's the only way their desire can manifest. But the quantum field is infinite. When you expand your vision and open yourself to possibilities you haven't even imagined, you create space for miracles. Here's a practice for expansion. Start each day by asking, what else is possible? Instead of focusing solely on one goal, open your heart and mind to the idea that the universe might have something even greater in store for you. This doesn't mean you give up on your desires, it means you remain open to the infinite ways they can unfold. Expansion is about moving beyond the linear, logical mind and stepping into the realm of infinite creativity. The final key to unlocking the fifth dimension is presence. The quantum field exists in the eternal now. When you're caught up in regrets about the past or worries about the future, you disconnect from the field and your creative power. Let me ask you, how often are you fully present in the moment? Presence is not just about mindfulness, it's about anchoring your energy in the here and now, where all possibilities exist. When you're fully present, you're in the perfect position to receive, to align, and to leap. Unlocking the fifth dimension isn't about escaping the world, it's about transcending its limitations. It's about stepping into a reality where you're not bound by time, space, or circumstance. It's about becoming the highest version of yourself and creating a life that reflects your infinite potential. The mechanics of quantum leaping awareness of the quantum field, embodiment, detachment, expansion, and presence are simple, but they require practice. The more you align with these principles, the more effortlessly you'll move into the fifth dimension and experience the direct jump. Now that you understand the mechanics of quantum leaping and have begun aligning yourself with the fifth dimension, the question becomes, what happens after the leap? It's one thing to momentarily tap into the fifth dimensional consciousness, to feel expansive, limitless, and deeply connected, but it's another thing entirely to live from that state every single day. This is where the real transformation begins. Let me ask you, what would your life look like if you operated from the fifth dimension in every thought, action, and decision? Imagine interacting with the world not from a place of fear, scarcity, or limitation, but from a space of infinite creativity, boundless love, and unshakable trust in the universe. Living in the fifth dimension isn't just about manifesting what you want, it's about embodying a completely new way of being. The first principle of living in the fifth dimension every day is awareness of your energy. In the fifth dimension, your energy is everything. It's your currency, your communication, and your compass. Let me ask you, how often do you check in with your energy? Most people are so caught up in the external world that they don't even notice when their energy is off. But in the fifth dimension, you can no longer afford to ignore it. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, and every belief you hold is shaping your reality in real time. This means you have to become a vigilant steward of your energy field. Here's a practical way to do this. Throughout your day, take moments to pause and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? If you notice that your energy feels heavy, contracted, or chaotic, don't judge it. Instead, take a deep breath, center yourself, and intentionally shift your focus to a higher vibration. You can do this by practicing gratitude, visualizing your desired reality, or simply connecting with the present moment. The key is to take ownership of your energy, knowing that it's the driving force behind everything you experience. The second principle is non-attachment to outcomes. In the fifth dimension, you no longer need to cling to specific results because you trust that everything is unfolding perfectly. Let me ask you, how much of your energy is tied up in worrying about whether things will go your way? When you live in the fifth dimension, you release this worry because you understand that the universe is always working in your favor, even when things don't look the way you expected. This doesn't mean you stop setting intentions or taking action. It means you stop trying to control every step of the process and instead allow the universe to surprise you. I think about it this way. In the third dimension, you're like a person trying to paddle a boat upstream, constantly struggling against the current. But in the fifth dimension, you let go of the oars and allow the current to carry you. You trust that the river knows the way, and you enjoy the journey, even if it takes you on unexpected detours. This level of trust doesn't come from blind faith, it comes from a deep inner, knowing that you're connected to a higher intelligence that always has your best interests at heart. The third principle is expanding your perspective. In the fifth dimension, you begin to see beyond the surface of things. You understand that every challenge, every interaction, and every moment is part of a larger divine plan. Let me ask you, can you see the bigger picture in your life right now? When you live in the fifth dimension, you stop labeling things as good or bad and start seeing them as opportunities for growth and evolution. You recognize that even the most difficult experiences are gifts designed to help you expand into your highest potential. Here's a practice to help with this. The next time you face a challenge, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" Shift your perspective from victimhood to empowerment and watch how your reality transforms. The fifth dimension is a space of mastery, and mastery begins with your ability to respond to life's circumstances with grace and wisdom. The fourth principle is embracing timelessness. In the fifth dimension, time is fluid. You're no longer bound by deadlines, schedules, or the pressure to make things happen within a certain time frame. This doesn't mean you stop being productive, it means you stop letting time control you. Let me ask you, how often do you feel rushed, stressed, or overwhelmed by time? When you live in the fifth dimension, you step out of the illusion of time and into the eternal now. You realize that everything you need is already here, and that the universe operates on divine timing, not human timing. Here's a practical way to embrace timelessness. Start your day by grounding yourself in the present moment. Instead of rushing into your to-do list, take a few minutes to breathe, meditate, or simply be still. Throughout your day, remind yourself that you're not in a race. Trust that what needs to get done will get done, and that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. The fifth and final principle of living in the fifth dimension is oneness. In the fifth dimension, you no longer see yourself as separate from others, from the universe, or from your desires. You understand that everything is connected, that the same energy flowing through you is flowing through the stars, the trees, and every other being on this planet. Let me ask you, do you feel connected to the world around you, or do you feel isolated? When you live in oneness, you move through the world with a sense of unity and compassion. You treat others as extensions of yourself, and you approach life with an open heart. Living in the fifth dimension isn't about escaping the challenges of the third dimension, it's about transcending them. It's about operating from a higher frequency where you're no longer limited by fear, doubt, or separation. It's about embodying the truth of who you really are, an infinite being with the power to create, love, and expand beyond imagination. Every day is an opportunity to practice this way of being, and the more you do, the more natural it will feel. Living in the fifth dimension is not a final destination, it's a stepping stone. While it feels like a profound leap from the limitations of the third dimension, it's only the beginning of an infinite process of expansion. Let me ask you, what if the fifth dimension is just one chapter in an endless story of evolution? The universe itself is not static, it's alive, dynamic, and ever-expanding. And so are you. Once you've stabilized your awareness in the fifth dimension, the question becomes, what's next? What lies beyond the quantum leap? This is where the concept of the infinite spiral comes in, a journey of continuous growth, where each step forward leads to new heights of consciousness, creativity, and connection. The first step in evolving beyond the fifth dimension is embracing the spiral nature of growth. Unlike the linear progression of the third dimension, higher dimensional growth moves in cycles. You'll revisit lessons, patterns, and emotions you thought you'd already transcended, but each time from a higher vantage point. Let me ask you, have you ever felt like you're repeating the same challenges, even after making significant progress? This isn't regression, it's refinement. Each return to a familiar challenge is an opportunity to deepen your mastery and align even more fully with your highest self. The spiral teaches us that evolution is infinite. There's no ultimate destination, no final level of enlightenment where growth stops. Instead, there's always more to explore, more to create, and more to become. This can be both liberating and humbling. Let me ask you, can you accept that you'll never arrive, yet still celebrate how far you've come? This paradox is the essence of the infinite spiral. It invites you to find joy in the journey itself, rather than fixating on a specific outcome. The second step is expanding your service to others. As you evolve, you'll naturally feel called to contribute to the collective evolution of humanity and beyond. Living in the fifth dimension is no longer just about your personal growth, it's about how you can use your expanded consciousness to uplift others. Let me ask you, how are you sharing your light with the world? Whether it's through your work, relationships, creativity, or presence, your evolution becomes a gift to those around you. The more you give, the more you expand. Finally, the infinite spiral asks you to surrender to the unknown. Beyond the fifth dimension lies realms of consciousness we can't fully comprehend. Let me ask you, are you willing to trust the mystery of what's to come? True evolution requires surrender, not as passive resignation, but as an active opening to infinite possibilities. The spiral continues, and so do you, always expanding, always becoming, always infinite.